Hello, my name is Jonathan. Welcome to my channel and welcome to day 2 of the 30-day Better You Challenge. Today we're going to be talking about affirmations and what they are and how to use them. Yesterday we talked about a lot about our mindset, be the change, right? That's our mindset. Affirmations help us with our heart set, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about what that means. But first, let me explain a little bit about what we suffer from and how affirmations can help us overcome these things. Negative self-talk. You probably already know what it is, but basically it's that little voice inside our head that is more like our little inner critic that tells you things like, "You suck at this. You're not good at this. Don't even try it. Everybody's watching." Or sometimes it's like, I laugh, but it's actually a really not a fun place to get stuck in, and quite frankly, no one is immune. I think we all have this voice in our head, and it's not always the happiest. We can kind of like talk ourselves out of trying new things or taking risks. And that's kind of how the inner voice works, is this negative self-talk. Negative self-talk is, that's what is the foundation of our limiting beliefs. So when we limit ourselves, when we believe that we can't do something, well, we're probably not going to be able to do it because we've just limited ourselves and we're not even going to try. And if we try, imagine like being an athlete and maybe trying to throw a basketball into a hoop. You get up there and right before you throw the ball, you're like, "Oh, I'm terrible at basketball. I'll never make this shot. This is going to be so bad," and everybody's watching. Like, statistically speaking, you're probably not going to make that. Like, that's not a good attitude to have. I don't, think about athletes, professional athletes. They don't get up there and tell themselves that. So they have a self-talk, but it's the motivational kind. It's kind of like they get up there and like, "I'm going to make this shot. I'm awesome at basketball. I'm going to win." So if the athlete does it for the big game, why can't we do it for everyday life? And that's where affirmations come in handy. Affirmations help us overcome the self-sabotage. And like I said, they kind of tip the scale in a positive direction. Affirmations are basically personal mantras. The short phrases you repeat over and over again in your mind or out loud that help change the way you think and feel about yourself. So examples include some good mantras that you feel free to take and use is I am enough. I radiate peace. I wrote a few more down. I radiate confidence. I am worthy of what I desire. I am beautiful. I am grateful for this day and the opportunities that it brings. Good things are always happening to me. So this is the positive self-talk. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about why they're so beneficial and how to use them and when to use them. Positive self-talk or affirmations can help us reprogram our minds and are often used to mitigate stress, treat anxiety and depression. They can raise your confidence and create a stronger sense of self-worth. They're also used in counseling to treat addictions, help us calm ourselves when our nervous system gets overloaded and we're going to have a panic attack, or maybe we lose our temper and when we feel that like rage start to bubble up. Affirmations can help us calm ourselves and neutralize those feelings. There's also evidence to suggest that affirmations can actually help shape our realities. I would love to make a longer video talking about this, talking about the law of attraction and manifestation. It's just too much to get into right now and a very deep topic. But I personally have had some very strange experiences that I cannot explain that have made me a 100% believer in the idea that we actually have a lot more control over our perceived realities than we think. But that's too much to get into right now. If you want to look into it a little bit more and do your own research, and you haven't heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, check him out. He's doing a lot of really cool and incredible things, he and his team, and it's not woo-woo. Like he brings the science to the table, and that's what's really impressive, is they've actually been able to map the brain out and see the biochemical changes in the brain when we use things like positive self-talk or affirmations. You can see the brain chemistry change, and that's really, really important. And why this tool or this technique is so effective. I already gave you a couple examples of affirmations. You can use those ones, but I also recommend you create your own personal affirmation to deal with your own personal issues. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how to do that. Tips for making your own personal affirmation. Number 1, affirmations work best if you say them out loud. You can say them in your head, and that's fine. They work. But if you say that out loud, it gives it more power. But I understand you might be, in the subway on your commute to work, and you don't want to be talking to yourself. I get that. So it's okay if you say them in your head, but I do encourage you to use them every day, and at least once or twice a day, say them out loud, and you repeat them, at least 3, 4, 5 times out loud, and that's how they work. So tip number 1, say them out loud if you can. Tip number 2, keep it in the present tense. So it's not like you're saying things like, I'm going to be rich. You say, I am rich. You are. You keep it in the present tense. I'm going to be happy, or one day I'll find peace. Affirmations are present tense. I am happy. I am beautiful. I have inner peace. So keep that present tense. That's important. Tip number 3, for coming up with your own personal affirmation as a technique, we'll call it flipping the script. Some people call it cognitive reframing. So basically, you identify the areas of your struggle, and you, basically your negative self-talk, and you flip the script or you reframe it. So you go from saying, if your negative self-talk is you have maybe body imaging issues, or body image issues rather, and you're in your mind or in the back of your mind or subconsciously you're like, oh, I'm ugly or I'm fat. You flip that and you say, my body is perfect. Really good affirmation I picked up from Wayne Dyer is that, I wrote it down, so I want to make sure I get it right, but because it's one of my favorite ones. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh no, I lost it. My body is a manifestation of spirit, and spirit is perfect. Therefore, my body is perfect. And I just love that one because it's like, oh, it hits. And so, identify, what your issues is, whether it's relationships or it's money, whatever your struggle is, whatever you're feeling, and try to learn how to reframe that. Another example of reframing or flipping the script is maybe you have self-esteem issues and you're a little shy and timid, and those are the feelings you get, when you're in a crowd of people, or you got stage fright or nervous. Maybe you have to give a presentation, and so you've identified kind of where you're lacking, or you're identifying where your ego is, and your little inner critic is stepping in and saying, oh man, I'm so nervous, or I'm not good at this, or flip the script. And your affirmation would be, I radiate self-confidence. Pretty simple technique. So that's tip number 3 for creating your own personal affirmation. Tip number 4, this is a really critical point. Feel them. Don't just say the words, but really feel them. Identify with them. What does it feel like in your body when you say them? A really good technique for this is visualization. Say that you are having issues with like finances, and you want more abundance, you want more money, you want to be more successful. What does that feel like? What does it taste like, to be rich, or to have, everything you want or anything that you need? Like literally imagine and visualize the flavor of the lobster, the buttered lobster that you can afford to eat every night if you wanted to. What does it feel like to drive your Ferrari, around town? Visualize it. And there's nothing shallow about this. I just used money as an example, but this can be anything. This could be love and relationships. What does it feel like if you imagined what your partner that you're looking for, your soulmate or whatever, what does it feel like to be in love with them and to have them love you and you love them? What would that feel like? And imagine that in your body and feel that feeling. So it's important that you're not just saying the words again, but you're identifying with it and you're feeling it. And another way of saying this, and I forgot who I heard this from, but it's taking the results as the path. So you're not saying like, this is where I want to go and these are the steps I want to get there. You're kind of identifying with what would it be like if I was already there now? Like what if I had all that money in the bank? What if I had all that love in my life? What if I was successful? Identify with the result, see and visualize the finish line, and attach that to your 5 senses. What does it, look like? What does it smell and taste like? What does it feel like? Really, what does it sound like? Really identify with it on the physical plane, where our 5 senses are when we're taking in the world around us, and that does something in your brain chemistry to just kind of like solidify it. It literally is just like taking a thought and beginning to manifest it into your reality, into the physical plane of existence. And that's where the law of attraction takes place. But again, we're going to talk about that later on in another video. So when do we use affirmations? Here's a couple ideas and tips that I have for you on when to use them. We just talked about what they are and how to make your own personal affirmation. Now, when do I use it? And I use affirmations. My favorite time to use them is right when I wake up. The first thing I think about when I wake up. And so first thing in the morning, affirmation. What is your affirmation? And repeat it right when you wake up. Now, the reason I like this is I believe that, for most of us, when we sleep, it's like our most peaceful. It's almost like we're sliding into a meditative state. And I think that that's where we're most connected with like our soul, when we're just peacefully sleeping at rest. We've put aside the day and all the physical world and all its demands, and we're sleeping. And then we come out of that slumber and we begin to wake up. And so often, when we wake up, we immediately get stressed out about, like I'm late for work, or I got to do all this stuff today. Or we check our phones. Like, don't do that. Keep the phone away. I have a rule, like I don't touch my phone, or try not to touch my phone for at least 30 minutes after I wake up, because when we do that, we're kind of ruining that energy. I just had this really nice, peaceful night's sleep, and the first thing I'm going to do is look at Facebook and probably see some dumb comment from some idiot who's just angry at the world, or read news about something bad happening. Kind of ruins my energy. And the same thing happens when we wake up and start stressing out about our day. So instead, flip the script. Wake up and repeat your affirmation. Start that positive self-talk. Set the tone for the day. To today's going to be a good day. Tip number 2, when to use affirmations. It's a pretty easy one. When you are disturbed, when your mind gets disturbed, when someone touches your stuff, when you get triggered, that's a great time to use your affirmation, obviously. I don't know if I need to say any more here, but that's really when they come in handy. Number 3, before you have to perform, maybe a good time to use affirmations is when you have to do something. You have a presentation you have to give. Maybe you are an athlete, so you have a game. Repeat your affirmations right before you head out onto the field or onto the court. If you're a performer, you're a dancer, or you're on a stage, or anything like that, like anything before you have to do something, repeat your affirmations. It really is a good way to kind of calibrate your energy and bring you into that space, that emotional and mental space that you perform most optimally. Number 4, good time to use your affirmation or your mantra is right before meditation. I highly recommend everybody meditate daily. I know we probably don't, most of us don't, but I do believe that it is extremely beneficial, and we are going to talk about that hint in a later video, but that's just one part of my day that I use my affirmation is right before meditation. It's a good way to kind of like, again, set your focus, set your intention, and then you meditate or whatever. So those are the 4 times that affirmations really come in handy. I think in the Western world we identify with our minds because we're always like thinking and overthinking, really. But we're always trying to solve our problems with our mind, and we identify with our minds so much. But it's actually our heart and our intuition, like that's where our consciousness lives. It's that's what's talked about in a lot of more of the Eastern philosophies and Hinduism, yoga, and Buddhism and Taoism. And that's really important, I think, to develop. Really open up your heart and feel things and build that intuition and connect with your heart center. And then we're not so lost inside our heads, because I think we all kind of suffer from that. You probably do too. Sometimes maybe you get stuck in your head a little bit too much. You overthink things. Instead, just feel them. And that's where the affirmations really come in handy, is what is it that you want? And so start feeling it. Don't listen to that negative self-talk and what the mind is constantly thinking about and all the thoughts that are popping up. Identify with the heart and what that feels like. That's energy. Connect to that energy. So I hope that your personal affirmation that you come up with is straight from your heart. And with that being said, I hope you have a fantastic day. We'll see you back here tomorrow for day 3 of our 30-day Better You Challenge.